How's it going, people? Welcome to this week's edition of the Locker Room right here on Top Six Fan TV. And if you've just joined, feel free to subscribe, hit the like button, drop a comment, drop a like, hit the notification bell, the whole shebang, ladies and gentlemen. And you are most welcome. With me in the studio is Mr. Manzi, Man United Jama. Manzi, you can say what's up.
Hi guys, how are you? Matthew, thank you for having me. Good to be here.
Obviously buzzing after that win for Man United. Jonah, Liverpool man, he's going back to his retro jerseys. The new one for this season was not working out. Red card started flowing for his people. Jonah, most welcome.
Thank you.
Brilliant. And Mose, Mr. Echodu, Arsenal man. There, he don't even have the balls to wear his Arsenal jersey, or should I say the guts? Forgive my French.
I'm an Arsenal sympathizer, so I don't really have the obligation to wear it.
I think you see how the position has changed, ladies and gentlemen, but it will be strong. Bamugumu, Mr. Moses Echodu, and we will get into the action right after this. Brilliant. Welcome. And action-packed weekend, ladies and gentlemen. And we will start from none other than Old Trafford, ladies and gentlemen, as we review the action from the traditional top six teams in the Premier League. Manzi, exciting game, I would say, mostly for United fans. For us Arsenal fans, not so much, but the result was in your favor. United proving yet again the record ender for the Arsenal, and Old Trafford yet again proving the grounds where all Arsenal records tumble. And a fantastic game. I mean, exciting for me as an Arsenal fan, regardless of the result. 3-1 it ended. Santos scoring a fluke of a goal, and two coming in for Marcus Rashford. Manzi, your take on the game and the result in particular. How did that go for you? Did you expect that? What do you think went right for United?
I expected it because Arsenal is the better team at that time in their current run of form. But unfortunately, they had to meet United. If they had played, Arsenal could have gone about 8 or 10 games unbeaten if United was not part of the fixtures. But somehow, it's like from way back, I don't know, that rivalry always ends with United winning. If there's an unbeaten run, if there's some... and since United had been poor and they have started resurrecting after Liverpool, I expected either a draw or a win. I didn't expect Arsenal to beat United. The game was interesting. It was end-to-end. I think United played well in the first half. It's a different United. I'm sure you have the records. You can show when I'm saying United is rubbish, the players are rubbish, but this United is different. So because of changing 3, 4, about 5 players, the team is gelling well. Guys are passing the ball well. They are confident. I don't know if it's because they don't have Maguire. And they trust each other with the ball. They pass the ball to each other. And Anthony, man, I was a bit skeptical, but debut goal is a great thing for him. All round, I think they deserved the win. It wasn't like a 1-0. It was an emphatic win, 3-1. But I think Arsenal, they were the better team and they lost. The better team lost. Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah. And Jonah, in your view, why do you think that was? I know you caught the game there, coming off the Merseyside derby. I know you did catch that game. Why do you think? Manzi has made an interesting statement that I do agree with. Looking at the stats from the game, Arsenal finishing possession-wise on top with 60% versus United's 40. Shots on target, Man United finishing on top with 6, converting 3 out of those into goals. Arsenal with 3. And then if you look at, let's say, counter-attacks, this is a fantastic start for me. Man United finishing with 4 counter-attacks versus Arsenal's 2. And we know that 2 of those counter-attacks did draw goals from them. So why do you think the match ended the way it did, Jonah?
I'm genuinely, I wasn't surprised. I thought going into the game, Arsenal would be lucky to get a draw. I think there's a way Ten Hag has set up his team to do well against bigger teams, against teams that come and want to possess and want to, dominate the game. Like the way he has set it up, and that's why I think he's even benching Ronaldo, who has lost some pace. I don't think it's about pressing. I don't think United were necessarily playing a pressing game against Arsenal. Maybe against Liverpool they kind of did, but they weren't necessarily pressing. So I think it's more about the pace on the counter. And that's why you see he has Rashford and Sancho playing every game. And Arsenal, to be honest, hadn't really played any challenging game this season. And coming into this game, there was definitely nerves on their side. Just knowing that there is that history, as Mazi talked about, there's that hoodoo that United always breaks their records. So that was definitely on their minds. And in the first few minutes, you could see it. You could see they weren't really themselves. So I think they would have been lucky to get a draw. Of course, 3 was kind of a lot. I thought maybe it would be like a solid 1-0. But yeah, United are doing well.
Man, Chodu, I mean, through the Arsenal lens, what went wrong for Arsenal? I mean, you've had Jonah and Manzi's thoughts, but what went wrong for you tactically there?
Well, first of all, I want to agree with Manzi and Jonah that going into this game, personally, I did not give Arsenal the win. I didn't see how they were going to pick the win because when you look at the history of this fixture, oftentimes the team that is on form will always, one way or another, end up losing this fixture. But then, importantly, whenever Arsenal is doing well going to Old Trafford, they always lose that fixture. And importantly, Arsenal will always dominate the game, but they will not pick the result. And that's exactly what happened. Now, for Arsenal, really, I think for me, the biggest challenge that Arsenal faced was their inability to realize that Sambi Lokanga has been struggling despite trying to put in a shift of performances. He was never going to be the kind of person that you're going to rely on. I would have thought that he would have thrown in Zinchenko to play in the middle of the park alongside Granit Xhaka because Zinchenko has played in that deep role for Manchester City before. And he's proven that he's able to. And even when you look at the game, when the game was going on, him and Granit Xhaka always found a way of inter-switching. That Zinchenko would always fall into the middle of the park, and then Granit Xhaka would always fall back. Now, when Arsenal conceded the second goal, my thought was that Saka, who I think started struggling after scoring that goal, would have been the man to give way for maybe Edin Ketia or say Vieira or Marquinhos, whoever he would have chosen to try and improve on the attack. To my amusement, he decided to take off a defender, Zinchenko in there, and then Martin Odegaard, which ideally meant that he opened up that midfield. And I think that the biggest other issue is that Arsenal failed to consistently, when playing against United, they have failed to realize that Manchester United will not always play for the ball. What they will play to do is to let you possess the ball and hope to take you in a counter-attack. And that's exactly what's happened. That they knew that Arsenal was always going to be vulnerable because they are trying to look for a goal, and they would find gaps to take advantage of. And an immense performance from Bruno Fernandes and Christian Eriksen. These are two intelligent players. You do not want to give them spaces to operate in, and that's what Aston did yesterday. They gave them spaces. The defenders were very suspect as well. So I think ideally the Arsenal tactics from the get-go were not favorable for them to even pick up a draw at Old Trafford.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just throw that one back in there. Obviously, for me, I agree with those assessments, especially Mr. Chodo's assessment there. I mean, the subs for me, when Arsenal had just managed to equalize and had arguably dominated the game from the beginning of the second half, killed it for me, left our midfield open and left Mr. Lokonga to, further exposure in there. So for me, and I've had it from a few other, pundits there, Maso and Gary Neville there as well, highlighting the fact that Arteta was tactically naive in that regard. And, that in addition to playing an incredibly high line against a counter-attacking team. And I mean, looking at those substitutes that went off, I just opened our midfield up to Fernandes and Eriksson starting to dictate play and pass through the channels. It was predictable, especially considering the fact that Rashford already scored a similar goal. I think it was his second. Was also, it was also about pace and just splitting the defense open with the help of Eriksson and Bruno Fernandes. Left the defenders no chance. But the passes like that left the defenders no chance. So, I mean, the debate does come in, although no one is saying Arteta out on the Arsenal side, but the debate does render its head. Arteta and some people will argue, out of the traditional top six, Arteta is the most experienced manager. We do know that he has definitely bought himself time with some progress in there, and he will have the benefit of the doubt, definitely. But Manzi, do you feel that Arteta was tactically naive, and Eric Ten Hag, obviously with experience, multiple title winner with Ajax, season Champions League manager, was more tactically mature and actually played to Man United's DNA?
I would say 50-50. There are two things I don't understand in football. One is playing a high line, and two, playing from the back. I know people say, the advantages playing high line, you create more people in the midfield, and then you give the forwards opportunity. But it's such a high risk thing,
It is,
especially against United's pace. And then also playing from the back. Playing from the back is good, but then it's also very risky. Like if you remember Tottenham's Wolves there, the team they were playing against, they were playing from the back, they lost the ball, Tottenham scored. So yes, I would say tactically, if that was his plan, it was a poor plan for a team which is a counter-attacking team. Man, the defense has to stay behind. At least let them foul the guy when he has reached, but don't put them on 100 meters sprint from the halfway line against Rashford or against Sancho. You make it very, very difficult for the defenders to defend against that. And it seems like it happened more than twice. I think we missed one of the opportunities. So if it has happened once, then you learn from that, because United also faced the same thing. They're trying to press high, and then that Martinelli goal that was cancelled, the controversial VAR decision.
We'll talk about the ref, by the way.
They learned from that, and they said, if guys can break and against the run of play, everyone is going forward, then you just make about 10 guys start chasing you. It's better we stay behind. We are solid at the back. And you saw what happened when Maguire came on. They first took him behind you guys. They were taking him 100 meters backwards. The guy just fouled that guy. For what, Jesus? He fouled one of the Aston players. So I don't understand that high line. For that, I would say it's tactically naive. High line against a counter-attacking team. It's like playing a high line against Tottenham. Those guys with Kane and Son and
they'll finish off. Richarlison, Kulusevski.
Yeah, Richarlison.
Same thing.
Try and stay behind defense. Yeah.
Yeah, so ideally you agree that Arteta was tactically naive. Jonah, your take on that, the tactics and the ref?
Yes.
Let's talk about the ref. That guy lives in Salford. Yeah? Salford is not too far for Old Trafford, man.
Even the guy who was on VAR is born from Manchester.
Can you imagine?
But you see, Matthew, these are things we know as football fans. We know when you're playing United, you're also playing the ref. So that one you
Exactly.
guys should have known, and you should have come ready to have a clear win.
Man, I'm telling you, Howard Webb
Don't give
students,
the
you
ref
guys. Howard Webb.
any excuses. Just do have a clear win.
So it was Odegaard who didn't know. Odegaard had forgotten.
Um, I want to
Yeah,
say, was the foul soft? Absolutely. It was a very
but it
soft
was a
foul.
foul.
And exactly, it was a foul. And in any day, when the VAR is brought in, VAR is always going to slow down the situation and make it as big as possible. But in the end, you cannot use one scenario to criticize the referee because I felt like the referee actually was
No. Was it one scenario? Was it one scenario it showed? Did you see how many
the
times Gabriel Jesus was fouled?
the the others are
No
negligible.
yellow
Really,
cards.
I will tell you
Hey,
this.
guy. Surely.
Yeah, Gabriel Jesus probably because Martinez fouled him, but then they gave him a free kick for that. Rafael Varane fouled him 2 or 3 times, but he got a free kick in one incident. So really, I think to use the referee as an
The scapegoat.
excuse is a scapegoat for Arsenal's poor performance on the day.
Mm.
I will say that United, if Arsenal had actually played their football and focused more on everyone doing their role, could have actually picked up a result at Old Trafford. When Arsenal had the ball, they did not create the spaces they were supposed to be creating. They did not, when they created the spaces, some players were out of position. Key, for example, was Gabriel Jesus. Whenever the ball was dropped into the middle of the park, it was often a little outside of the park. And Martinelli, you don't expect him to be in the middle of the park trying to poach the goals because he's trying to be able to avail himself on the wide areas just in case the ball gets wide. So in retrospect, I think that when you look at Arsenal's performance on the day, they could have done a lot better as a team because United's defense was airtight, and what
It was
United
too
did was,
solid.
yeah, what United needed was, and you see, Arsenal failed to realize that in the wings they were failing to penetrate United. And yet, whenever they tried to go through the middle of the park, they were actually trying to create the spaces. They were trying to open up United, and that comes down to the fact that Odegaard was always watching over his back. Xhaka was always walking over his back because they were both not very comfortable with the presence of Sambi Lokanga behind. So, in essence, we can talk about the ref all we want, but also you look at the first goal incident, for example, when when Arsenal dropped the ball, Granit Xhaka, who's supposed to be the man who's a box-to-box player, was literally just walking on the pitch and watching on, and so he left a lot of Zinchenko open. He left Saliba also exposed. So in all that we can talk about, Arsenal have themselves to blame. They have got to rewatch the film, see the mistakes that they made, and try and recover in the Europa game and also over the weekend. Because you cannot, at this level of football, you cannot allow yourselves to be making such minor issues. And for me, I think that is it.
Brilliant. Some comments coming in from some of our viewers. Manzi, before you come in, Dimitri and the Scarecrow. Wow, what an interesting name. Saying, deserve. I'm happy to have Man United win, but let's be honest. I think probably alluding to the fact that probably Arsenal had a better game, but were unlucky. And then Buscago commenting and adding that Man United with Maguire and Shaw is a whole different team from United with Varane, Martinez, and Malacia. The stability at the back has made the entire team better. Never play a high line against them. I'm sure you guys agree with that. Manzi, you had some comments. I think final comments coming in before we close this one.
Dimitri is, I know him, he's a Zimbabwean musician.
Right.
Yeah, very interesting.
And Buscago has taken the words out of my mouth. I think he has I just shared the link in a group I'm in with Buscago. I feel sorry for Arsenal. The United they have played. If they had played United at the beginning of the season, it would have been a win. But this is a different United. So that back four. There are these 4 players I worry for if they will play in that squad again. Wan-Bissaka, Luke Shaw, Maguire, and Phil
Maguire
Jones.
and
I don't know
Cristiano
where they'll
Ronaldo.
play unless those 4 players, Martinez, Malacia, Varane, and Dalot, are injured. These
Yeah.
guys have
Well,
solidified the team.
well, I think Martinez is going to be injured for probably a week or two, considering the
He is.
fact
Why?
that
You injured him.
Is
you
Martinez injured?
No,
were
that's
you
what I'm saying.
watching were you watching a different game? That man
He
literally
got
got
injured.
he
I
was
think
dead. He ever
he
played. He
got
played
injured.
Fulham.
I think
No,
yeah, I saw like
that
it
man
did
got
look like he got
a
an injury.
hamstring. He got an
Yeah, it looked
hamstring.
like a hamstring.
Yeah, that man got an hamstring.
He was just dead. He overplayed. He really
Okay.
overplayed.
No, my guy, there's getting tired and then you want to push on because Martinez is the kind of player who pushes on even if he's
Mm.
exhausted.
Yeah.
But an injury where you clearly tell your team that no, I can't push on. That's a different
Yeah.
thing. You have played football.
Yeah.
You know an injury. You can tell an injury when it has come. So for me, one of the things I remember saying on radio was that, and even before the close of the deadline transfer, that the signings Man United has done, and having the coach in Eric Ten Hag, they are going to be a very different team altogether.
Yeah.
One, because Erik Ten Hag is not afraid to bench you as long as you're not performing, as long as you're not giving him the kind of what he wants to see even in training. He's not afraid to put you on the bench. And you see, the other issue is when you look at the fact that United played extremely well in the middle of the park without even having Casemiro. Now, imagine you have Casemiro in that midfield, a man who has the ability to see a pass with just one person running from the flank because of his experience playing at a high level club like Real Madrid. Is going to add
Definitely.
so much value to this to the midfield of Bruno
United
Fernandes
team.
and Christian Eriksen. And once that chemistry is blended in, United are going to be a very big force to reckon with. They may not win the title, but I guarantee you they will determine who gets to walk away with that title. Because
Yeah.
and in January they're going to add 1 or 2 more pieces. They just need 1 or 2 more pieces, and they'll be quite a force to reckon with in the coming 1 or 2 seasons. So for me, this United team, whoever hasn't met them yet, just pray that the Europa League and the Premier League many fixtures that are coming up will force injuries onto them, and then they
And
will
the
do
World
reset.
Cup.
Yes, and the reset will be on. But otherwise, this is a team United have longed for over the last 5 years, and I think they finally found it. And the coach who understands how to make tactical decisions is the right man they got from Ajax.
Brilliant. Let's leave all things Arsenal and United at that, gentlemen, and move to another derby that took place in Liverpool, the Merseyside derby. Manzi has already kicked off with laughter. Manzi, why are you laughing? 0-0 draw over there. We thought United, sorry, I'm still saying United, but we did think Liverpool would come out on top there, considering the fact that they did have Darwin Núñez come back, and the front three, Luis Diaz, Darwin Núñez, and Mo Salah, was back in action. Fabinho, Fabio Carvalho, Harvey Elliott, a bit attacking, but a little bit inexperienced, if you ask me, with Fabinho the only one in there with loads of experience from midfield. And then, Everton looking a bit vulnerable as a result of their last few games. But surprisingly, it ended up 0-0. Jonah, let's kick off with you. What went wrong for United there? Conor Cody having a disallowed goal in the final few minutes, I believe, that would have made it quite embarrassing for Liverpool. What happened,
Yeah.
Jonah?
To be honest, like, this is the first time in a long time, even before Klopp, where I've come to an Everton game and I'm not sure of what's going to happen. Like, there's something about all the games we have played, apart from Fulham. Fulham actually just outplayed us in every department. But Crystal Palace played us counter-attack. Low block, counter-attack. United, low block, counter-attack. Who else have we played? I think those are the ones.
9.
Or Bournemouth, yeah, that doesn't count. That was a real anomaly. But you see, all the other games where we have struggled, all you have to do on this Liverpool team is defend, Have your guys with pace, your Zahas, your Rashfords, and quick counter. That's it. So Everton, they do have those guys. They have Damari Gray, they have Neil Maupay, who they got recently, and all these guys. And what's the other guy? Anthony Gordon. Also has crazy pace. So coming to this game, I was like, man, we're in a lot of trouble. If we don't come and score them like 2 quick goals, then we're in trouble. And by the time the first half ended 0-0, that's when I started worrying. I was like, now anytime they're just going to sucker punch us, which they had done if it wasn't for Corner Cody being offside.
And Manzi, I don't know. Do you agree with that assessment? So, what does that mean for Liverpool going forward? And do we expect you guys to challenge for the title, or are you just going to be contenders for Champions League?
I mean, to be honest, it's still a bit open. I think it's still a bit open. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we are only 5 points behind City, and we are only 6 points behind Arsenal. So it's not that bad. What's in terms of the space? What's bad is the way we are playing. Like, but if we can turn the corner and Klopp realizes what's going on, obviously there's the fact that we've had many injuries all happening at once with Thiago, Matip just coming back, Jota as well. So maybe, and then there was the suspension of Darwin. So maybe after things settle a bit, maybe I wouldn't rule us out completely.
Manzi, do you agree with that?
Man, I'm just so
you
sad.
You already tested Liverpool's blood at Old Trafford.
Yeah, I'm so sad because I don't want City to win again. I thought Liverpool would be pushing them seriously, but they have been really poor. I don't know if there was some witchcraft on Everton's goal, you guys. There were so many posts and bars, and I'm like, just of the 9, if you could
get the ball in the net.
From the 9, they came the Bournemouth just 2-0, and then they said it would be 7-0.
Give some to the Everton double.
But I also think it's because they cheated against Newcastle. That 98th minute goal, I think God was like, because it was only 1-1. The ref gave them extra 10 minutes. So
because Newcastle are wasting time. When you waste time, they have to add.
That was karma, man. Jonah, it seems the man is
karma, you guys, because
in addition to some banana fibers.
But I feel so sorry for Liverpool. They should have at least 1-0, but because football can kill you, man. Let me just put it that way. Football is
real death, bro. Real death.
It's so annoying.
So
I don't know who's going to help us take the crown.
For me,
he's written Liverpool off for the title. He's giving it to Manchester City already.
It's too early. It's too early. But also, this fixture, Everton, Liverpool, if you followed it for a long period of time, it's often a fixture that ends in either a high-scoring draw or a very low-scoring draw, or ends in draw. I mean 0-0. So it's and this weekend was a case of Frank Lampard knowing that his career was on the line. Importantly, Liverpool, have not been as impressive, probably because of the injuries that they have been having in the middle of the park. But also, they are now starting to appreciate the absence of Sadio Mane, who left for Bayern Munich. So, and I want to say that the first 6 games or 7 games may not necessarily give us a clue of who is going to win the title, because we have also seen Man City scrap some wins here and there, but also put on some amazing performances in other games. So it's a little bit too early. But what this now means is that all the 6 teams currently, if we are to go by what we are seeing, have a shout for who gets to win the title, if you get what I mean, because you have a Tottenham Spurs who are playing haram football, but picking up the wins, because that is Antonio Conte for you at the end of the day. You have Manchester United, who are now starting to play as a unit, and they're picking up, they have won 4 in 6 games. You have Chelsea, who, for lack of a better word, they are going through what you would call self-destruction. But but you expect that along the way they will find their pieces and get back in there. And then you have Liverpool, like I've just said, they're going to find their fluid. And then of course Man City, they're going to be the team to beat. Ideally, they're going to be the team to beat. But it's a bit too early to write anyone off at this stage. And I think let the Everton Liverpool fixture not lie to us many. Once that team starts, working as a unit, then they will be scoring those goals, they will be winning those fixtures.
Brilliant. Let's go to a team that was good at converting its chances over the weekend. Chelsea right there, coming out on top. Fantastic 2-1 result. Impressive result, I think, considering they did have some misfortune a bit early on in the game versus West Ham. With a few yellow cards there, almost resulting in a red card again, but they did weather the storm. And after Mikel Antonio giving West Ham the lead, Chelsea took control. Ben Chilwell back in the side, scoring the equalizer there, and then providing on, laying on the assist for Kai Havertz to score the winning goal in there. And West Ham, unfortunately, denied a winner from Maxwell Cornet by not a winner, equalizer in the 90th minute for Maxwell Cornet by VAR. I don't know if you guys caught that game, but what's your take on Chelsea? For me, Chilwell far more attacking in terms of an option right there in terms of output than Cucurella. I think Cucurella is quite solid defensively, makes those runs up front, but in terms of end product, Ben Chilwell, was part of the reason for their resurgence in the first quarter of last season before he got injured. But Manzi, your take on Chelsea, their performance. This was at the end of the day West Ham, which is not a pushover of a team. So interesting London derby right there.
I didn't watch the game. I only watched the highlights, and I was very disappointed in that Chilwell goal. I don't know how the keeper can be scored from that position. It's very. I don't know if he gets to that goal. It's just.
I saw that goal. That is why we let Fabianski go. Such errors.
That's either the defense or the keeper should be more decisive. He's not going. So yeah, the 2-1 win was a scrappy win. They tried to fluke and win it, but I think Chelsea, like Chodwa said, Chelsea is really very poor. I don't expect them to be in top 4. They'll be maybe 5th, 6th. They are not the Chelsea that we knew. I have a friend called Fobisha. Fobisha, we already see that they have now fixed the team, they brought players, but Chelsea is not a threat. But it's not like last season where if you knew you were playing Chelsea, it was a possible loss. So I can't give a proper verdict on the whole 90 minutes, but I think West Ham shouldn't have conceded that Chilwell goal and probably should have got at least a point out of the game. So it was sad to see them lose all 3. Yeah.
Interesting. Jonah, your take on it, man. Your friend Kai Havertz squad. So does that bode well for Chelsea?
Yeah, I think Chelsea, the biggest mistake they made was not signing a recognized striker. It's a position. Okay, they got Aubameyang, but I don't know if he's going to. I don't know if he's going to perform at the level that they need. The guy he's what, 33, and already towards the end of his Arsenal career, he was struggling. I don't know if that was just down to his attitude, wanting to leave and all that, or if the league had just become tough for him. So that one we will see. But I just don't see him playing at the level you would want for a team that's trying to win the league. So I think they will struggle with that. As for their West Ham win, that was cheating. They completely cheated those guys.
Yeah. I like that. That is cheating. Comment coming in from Supreme Montage there. Checking out Chelsea are looking like farmers, so he doesn't really believe that Chelsea are definitely going to pose a threat this particular season. Chodu, I want to hear your views on the signing of Aubameyang and what he is going to bring to this Chelsea team. Is he going to get that engine firing? Everyone has been saying they are missing a striker. What's your view on that?
Uh, I have mixed feelings about Aubameyang joining Chelsea. One, when you look at Chelsea signing Raheem Sterling, you'd have thought that they would have taken advantage of his imperious pace. But watching the last couple of games, you've all seen that Sterling has come from a team that where the midfielders see your positioning, they see your runs, and instinctively they start putting the ball towards where you're running towards. But at Chelsea, he has been making those runs behind the defenders, and suddenly you're seeing Jorginho turning back the ball, Mount turning back the ball, Gallagher turning back the ball. And if you're going to play with a player of Aubameyang's stature, you want to be able to see your midfielders making sure that they are seeing his runs. You see, and so it may not come down to how Aubameyang fits into this team. It may come down to how this team fits within the play style of Aubameyang at the end of the day. Because for a player like Aubameyang, you have got to be able to supply that ball. You have got to be able to create those chances for him to be able to take them. But also importantly, looking at how Aubameyang was playing in Spain, he has started to get onto his feet. But now, just when he was trying to get off his feet, suddenly he has to get back to England to a whole different team, and he has to adjust to a different brand of football. Of course, he has worked with Thomas Tuchel before, but Thomas, this is not Borussia Dortmund where they were together, where you have a Marco Rose who's going to put the balls in there. You had a Shinji Kagawa who was playing
Mario Götze at his peak.
Exactly,
Shinji
Mario Götze
Kagawa,
at his
Nuri
peak.
Sahin at his peak.
Exactly, Nuri Sahin. You're talking about Gundogan at the time. So these are two different types of teams, and you need to see that Mason Mount is playing more or less like the way Gundogan does. His ability to see a pass before even the fans see that pass, and that will be a difference for Chelsea. But I think if they're able to get that rolling, then Chelsea could actually find some 14 or 15 goals within Aubameyang.
Well, I do agree with you. I think they'll definitely find some goals, but whether it will be enough to upstage the likes of Spurs with Conte, I have no idea. And moving on to that, Spurs quietly doing their business, beating Fulham in another sort of little London derby there. 2-1, Spurs at home, goals coming in from Højbjerg and Kane, and a consolation goal coming in from, guess who, Manzi? Guess who scored for Fulham?
Who scored? Bailey.
Take a wild guess for Fulham.
Mitrovic.
That's the man. Guy can't stop scoring. Guy can't stop
man, his goal was okay.
Until I put him in my fantasy, then he will stop.
No, he has what? 5 in 6, 6 in 6.
And I'm minting him. Hey, boss, the man is on fire. I have him in my fantasy, so I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. Him and Haaland
like
are keeping me afloat
in the championship. So I think he has come to Premier League to also give us some like 30 or 40 goals.
Hey, if you look at the charts right now, Haaland has 10 goals. Mitrovic is second with 6. He's even ahead of.
But that goal was class. Like ball control, done, put it in the far. It was a good goal.
It was something, wasn't it? Yeah, man. No, I mean, Jonah, I'll kick off with you here. Spurs quietly going about their business. Antonio Conte playing ugly football, so to speak. Well, not ugly, but he's not playing.
Like Chodu said, they are playing haram football. It is the worst thing to say.
Haram.
I didn't watch the last one.
I mean,
but against Nottingham Forest, surely it's Nottingham Forest. How do you come and play negatively against Nottingham Forest? Like Nottingham were in their half the whole time, in their box the whole time. and Spurs are just waiting, counter. And also they play dark arts, like they'll kick you here and there when you're trying to escape with the
Yes.
ball. They'll do small fouls.
They,
If there's one
they
team I'm
send
not looking forward
Richarlison
to
to do
play,
PPR piece.
yeah,
Eh.
I'm not looking forward to playing Spurs.
Uh,
I can already see Klopp complaining.
um,
Eh.
I think if you were very keen to see the kind of transfers that Spurs were making, you would start to realize that all these players that were being bought by Spurs fit into the brand of football that Antonio Conte believes in. You've got to be a hard worker. You've got to be able to run more than 120 minutes. For him, and put you should be able to run forward, create chances, and then come back and defend as a unit. And I think that is the difference this season for many. And if you have seen all the titles that Antonio Conte has won over his spell as a coach, he's never played the most beautiful football. Actually, he doesn't even identify with the brand of football called beautiful.
No. For Chelsea, I think I beg to differ. Chelsea, his title-winning campaign was quite. I think it was exciting.
It was okay football
when he got the run going.
It was okay football. It wasn't the kind of football. It wasn't the same as Mourinho's okay football, where he went on to score 100 and something goals in the Premier League season, setting a record.
Yeah.
So there is a difference about Conte's brand of football. It's not the most entertaining football, but it's the kind of football that gets you results. And for him, he's always been able to identify himself as a coach who gets results done. And I think that is probably why teams like Arsenal and Manchester United were very hesitant on trying to get him, because for Arsenal and United, it's always a question of, in as much as we want to win games, let's have some bit of entertainment here and there. United may not have a brand of football that, let's say, a style of football that you can identify them over the last 30, 40 years, but there's one identity that they have, and that is the winning mentality. So, that's who Antonio Conte is. And when you look at the way Spurs play, they are willing to let go of the ball just to be able to make sure that they draw you out of your positions and change your structure so that they can be able to penetrate those structures to get the goals. So
Interesting analysis. Gentlemen, we'll leave it at that. Mr. Harry Kane did manage to score the second goal as well, so he continues in his rich vein of form. And wrapping up the review for this particular show was another surprising result. Manchester City going away to Aston Villa there. Haaland, unsurprisingly, scoring right there to give Manchester City the lead in the second half. And then fantastic goal coming in there from Mr. Leon Bailey right there to grant Aston Villa the goal a bit later on, and they held on for the draw. Steven Gerrard's job, or rather his neck, was on the line here, Manzi. What was your take about this result? Is it a flash in the pan? City will recover from this and start firing again? Or do you feel Aston Villa were deserved?
Again, I didn't watch the whole match, but from the highlights, you can see that, first of all, Haaland's goal was a super, like, taekwondo. It was a Ibrahimovic kind of goal. Some
for a guy that big,
hidden dragon, crouching tiger kick. It was good. But of course, they have the best player, De Bruyne. That was a serious cross, and Haaland. I don't know why they were not able to score more. Mahrez had a chance, he missed. I think Gundogan. They missed some chances. And that actually reminds me of the advantage that Anthony has over Mahrez, that he's a left-footed striker on the right wing, so it was easy for him to score. Mahrez, when he had the same opportunity, put it wide the other side, not near post, but put it the other side. So I think, I don't know why they were not able to score a second goal and get a win, but also that shows you that, man, teams are not easy. You come, when you see the fixture, City, Aston Villa, you put your money on City to win. But the way they failed to beat Aston Villa goes to show that a 1-0 lead is not enough, man. You have to, like Jonas said, can you 2-3 goals, then you keep quiet. But one goal is not a comfortable lead. So it was good
Hey,
first half.
Jonah, your take on your former captain's tactics there?
Hey, Gerrard was fighting for his life, so I'm not surprised that they
Hey.
actually held City. And remember, this is the same Gerrard that almost stole it from City on the final game of the season. So I think for some reason, he knows how to play against Pep, at least based on these two games.
Yes.
And they had actually even won. Coutinho had scored, and they said he's offside, but he wasn't offside.
Again, they cheated.
So, yeah, they cheated. It was a very terrible weekend for VAR.
Yeah.
But I think what that shows, because Aston Villa have been one of the worst teams in the league this season. And if they can hold City, who are playing crazy football, if they can hold them, it just shows you that the league is very wide open and anyone can do anything against anyone. Nothing is set in stone yet.
That's true. Yeah, the days of teams, the big boys, the top six, just steamrolling all the other smaller teams or lesser clubs, so to speak. No disrespect. Seem to be over. It's quite competitive across the board. And Moses, I don't know what your thoughts are about that particular game, but what is it going to take for Pep Guardiola's team to start? I mean, we talked about Liverpool dropping points, and Manzi was doubting their ability to challenge City for the title, but City also dropping those points. So what's the significance of that? Are we looking at possibly a dark horse coming into that title race that had not been seen outside those two?
United. Woo!
First of all,
Manzi
I
is going,
think
they're going unbeaten and winning the league, man.
United is winning the league. Yes.
I think first of all, what I said earlier on is that everyone is struggling. All the big teams are struggling, and Man City have been struggling. When you look at also, say for instance, when you look at how their first games were, they don't have it easy. I think they drew the first game. And then this weekend they drew against Aston Villa in a game that they could or should have lost actually, because that Coutinho goal. Sorry,
Bless you, man. That's Munana.
That Coutinho goal should have stood. And I don't think VAR has had this a difficult week. I think they have had a difficult spell of the Premier League so far. Because the scores have been shambolic ever since the season began. But importantly, I think the team that we need to watch out for, again, is going to be Tottenham Hotspur, because they are going to be grinding on results. And they are a team that is capable of forcing all the other teams, all the big teams, to drop points apart from Manchester United. I think Manchester United have got a way of playing Spurs and always picking up results against Spurs, irrespective of how informed Tottenham Hotspurs are in. But teams like Arsenal, they can always go and pick up 4 points, where necessary, or 3 points. They can always pick up 4 or 3 points from Chelsea. They can always pick up a maximum of 3 points from Liverpool. So
Same as City.
Same as City. So if they are able to get those points from those big teams and then go ahead and beat up on all the other small teams, then they are going to be quite a team to worry about. And like I said earlier on, Manchester United may not necessarily win the league, but they are sure as heck going to determine where that trophy is going to go, because if at the end of the season they have to play against teams that are going to walk away with the title, they can choose their poison and say we're better off having Tottenham Hotspurs winning the title as opposed to having Man City or Liverpool winning it, because I think those are the three teams. I think those are the three teams
that are going to cause trouble.
that are going to, go all out for the title.
Brilliant. Moses, sorry, I had to cut you short right there. We have come to the end of our show, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you, good gentlemen, for joining. If you've just joined, feel free to hit the subscribe button. Feel free to hit the like button, hit the notification bell as well. Manzi, Jonah, Echodu, Mr. Arsenal, thank you for joining. We'll be back next time. And Manzi, let's see whether you can sustain that momentum as Man United. The real test now kicks off, starting with next week away at Crystal Palace. So we'll be hoping our old boy Patrick Vieira gets a number on you, but we'll be interested to see. But it's great for the Premier League to see Man United coming alive, Chelsea and Spurs keeping up the momentum, and seeing Liverpool and Manchester City can actually be dented. So it's captivating, and this is why they call the Premier League the best league in the world. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. We'll catch up next week, same time, same place. Do have a fantastic rest of the week. Cheers.